Have you ever found yourself yawning uncontrollably in a room full of yawning people? It's a universal experience, one that transcends cultural boundaries. It's not just us humans either. Even animals can't resist a good yawn. This isn't just a quirky coincidence. Yawning is a fascinating and surprisingly complex phenomenon with a contagious quality that's hard to ignore. Intriguing, isn't it? But what's behind this wide-mouthed phenomenon? Let's dive into the science of yawning. Yawning, although seemingly simple, is a complex process involving several parts of the brain. Now, let's delve into the physiological process of yawning. It all begins in our brain, specifically in an area called the hypothalamus. This part of the brain controls many of our automatic functions, such as heart rate and, yes, yawning. When we yawn, the hypothalamus sends a message to our mouth and throat muscles, causing them to contract and create that familiar yawning motion. But what triggers this process? The most common triggers are tiredness and boredom, but interestingly, seeing someone else yawn can also set off a yawn. This is called contagious yawning, and it's a bit of a mystery to scientists. Now, why do we yawn? There are several theories. One popular theory suggests that yawning helps to cool the brain. When we yawn, we draw in a large amount of cool air, which then circulates around the brain, helping to lower its temperature. Another theory proposes that yawning is a form of communication, a way of demonstrating empathy or bonding with others. This could explain why yawning is often contagious. When we see someone else yawn, our brain triggers a yawn as a way of mirroring their actions and creating a sense of connection. So next time you yawn, remember it's not just about being tired or bored. Your brain might be just cooling off. Ever caught a yawn from someone else? You're not alone. As it turns out, yawning is a bit like a cold. It's infectious. But don't worry, there's no need to reach for the hand sanitizer just yet. This contagion is all down to something called mirror neurons in our brains. These neurons are fascinating little bits of our biology that allow us to mimic the actions we see others doing. So when you see someone else yawn, these mirror neurons fire up, and before you know it, you're yawning too. But here's where it gets really interesting. Research has shown that contagious yawning is more common among people who are high in empathy. That's right, if you're the sort who can't help but yawn when someone else does, it might just mean you're a kind-hearted soul who's good at understanding others' feelings. So, the next time you're caught yawning after someone else, don't be embarrassed. It's just your empathy showing. Did you know that animals yawn too? That's right. Yawning isn't just a human phenomenon, it's been observed in a variety of animals, including mammals like lions and dogs, birds like parrots, and even reptiles like snakes. But why do animals yawn? Well, in the animal kingdom, yawning can serve a variety of purposes. In some species, it's a sign of submission or a warning signal. For instance, a chimpanzee might yawn to show submission to a more dominant member of the group, or a snake might yawn to warn off potential threats. Fascinating, isn't it? And guess what? The contagious nature of yawning isn't just limited to us humans. Some animals, like primates and dogs, also show contagious yawning. Research suggests that, similar to humans, this might be linked to their ability to empathize. So next time you see your pet dog yawning after you do, know that it might be picking up on your emotions. So yawning is not just a human phenomenon. It's a universal behavior seen across the animal kingdom that serves various purposes, from communication to empathy. Stay tuned for our conclusion to wrap up everything we've learned about this intriguing behavior. Did you know that yawning can also tell us about our health? Yes, you heard it right. While yawning is a common and natural behavior, excessive yawning can sometimes be a sign of certain medical conditions. For instance, it could indicate sleep disorders like sleep apnea or insomnia. If you're not getting enough restful sleep, you might find yourself yawning more often. Additionally, yawning can also be associated with heart problems. Some heart conditions can trigger the vagus nerve, which can cause you to yawn, but that's not all. Yawning is also seen in individuals with neurological conditions like epilepsy or migraines. How so, you ask? Well, changes in the brain's activity and chemistry can stimulate the yawning reflex. Studies suggest that understanding the link between yawning and these conditions can help doctors diagnose and treat these conditions more effectively. So if you're yawning a lot, it might be more than just tiredness or boredom. It could be a sign of something more serious. Remember, our bodies often communicate with us in subtle ways, and yawning might just be one of them. It's always a good idea to pay attention to these signs and consult a healthcare professional if you notice any unusual patterns. Stay tuned for our conclusion, where we wrap up everything we've learned about this intriguing behavior. So, we've debunked the myth of yawning being just about tiredness. We've ventured into the science behind this common yet intricate phenomenon, delving into its physiological roots, and even touched upon its contagious nature. The act of yawning, as it turns out, is a complex process that not only cools our brain, but also showcases our capacity for empathy. The next time you yawn, remember, it's not just a simple act. It's a complex process showing your brain's intricate workings and your ability to empathize with others. Hey, if you've made it this far, we guess you found our video on yawning insightful and intriguing. If you learned something new today and enjoyed our journey into the science behind this common yet fascinating phenomenon, don't forget to hit the like button. Your likes help us to keep creating content like this. And if you want to continue exploring the wonders of the world with us, make sure to click the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more videos that delve into the fascinating world of science. Remember, every like, share and subscription helps us bring more such intriguing topics your way. Thank you for your support.